Hey, WheelSnipeSelly here. Welcome back. It's kind of been a minute since I've done one of these. It's Monday, August 14th, 2023. So we're looking at the NASDAQ right now. And this is the daily candle. You can tell we did come down and take out Friday's lows. And then we basically came up and took out Friday's highs. So I want to show what I was looking at in NQ before we hop over to ES. So let's just make this bigger and we'll just work off this. So let's look at the 15-minute. So you can see, so we have Monday midnight opening price here. But if you look here, we have Friday's, we have Friday's low right here. And we can probably, this is probably a duplicate line, but so Friday's 11:30 low right here, it was tapped in Sunday night around midnight. And then with the one setup for life, ICT says, kind of basically ignore the session. So let's go to regular trading hours, and it's just this little thing right here. So right at 9:30, we swept this. So coming into this, I was looking for a move like this, and then if this were to happen and we were to reject, I was going to be bullish for the day. So once I saw that at 9:30, I was bullish for the day. You can see we have our opening range gap here. These are our orange lines, and then we have. Let me go down to a 5-minute. I thought maybe on the MNQ I have on my, here we go. So this is just the micro NASDAQ MNQ. But so you can see the dashed orange line. This is the previous day's opening range gap. So we still have this space to fill. We have a void right here. So so when I flip to regular trading hours, I'm looking, this is what I use to find my draws on liquidity using ICT's video one setup for life. So you saw, so once we took this out at 9:30, he called out this high, this 2:30. So the afternoon high, this was the first draw, immediate. He basically said if we failed to hit this, we were going to come back down. The next one would be the 1020. So this was at 15,174. Then we had this big gap here. So, and then we have the previous day high. I have noted here. So that's what I was originally looking at, kind of coming into the day. So I have this noted here where we kind of swept this and then we rejected. So let's go back to electronic hours. And so I didn't really take a trade from 10 to 11. I felt like I kind of missed the move, so I waited. And so you can see here, this is a third. So you can see that 230 high is right here. And when you go to regular trading hours, all of this price action is gone. So this is primary target 1, 2, and then the London high at 355, this was that next draw. And then we had the daily high. So let's go down to the 1 minute. I'll show you where the silver bullet was. And I didn't take this. Like I said, I feel like this already kind of moved. I did like this breaker here. So we have a low, a high, lower low, higher high. So right here was a breaker with a silver bullet. Perfect trade. But I didn't take it. I was actually waiting for, I wanted to see if it wanted to come down into this, but we didn't retrace any lower from here. So this could have been a good entry targeting, two partials, which is what ICT kind of called out. So then I had an alert basically set for this high, for the London high. And once that tagged, I was kind of looking at ES, and this was a pretty large range right here. So basically right around 10:55, I was looking for where the AM sell stops were. And so like this is where I would have called out AM sell stops. And that's quite a big range. So I kind of liked with a short on ES because NASDAQ already swept the previous day's lows. So that's kind of why I favored ES. So, and then see if there's anything else that I want to call out here. Let me go to the 5-minute real quick. So I had this fair value gap noted, and this was the same fair value gap on the ES where I was kind of targeting to a take profit. So I'll kind of show that whenever we kind of get into it. But if you note here at 11:50, we do not take out the swing high from 10:55. So that's what gave me the breaker to go lower. So, and also SMT. So this didn't make a high, so it was weaker. But let's go over to ES and we'll break this down. So again, let's put on our regular trading hours. Okay, so we have our Friday low here. We didn't get anywhere close. We have our old opening range gap here, which I'll make this consistent. Put a dashed line. So I normally keep on the previous day's opening range gap and then the current day. So it kind of just depends on where we are at in price action. So we have our opening range gap here. Okay. And so yeah, we did take out the, well, it didn't really take it out. Let's put a trend line on here. It came down and touched the Friday 11:30 low. So I wasn't really looking at ES until once we got around like 10:55, but I'll show you where the silver bullet setup was. So here, this wouldn't have been something that I would have taken, but at 10:12 we have a fair value gap here, and it comes down and fills it in multiple times. A little bit of a stop rate here, a stop hunt here, and then it goes higher. So let's go to the 5-minute. I'll show you where the immediate draws were. So I had this noted here. This was the 1020. This was the 1020 high, and the first draw would have been right here. This is the buy side here, and then we have this guy right here. Oops, I'm gonna do buy side. So once we tapped into this, we also had, let me go to the daily real quick. Yeah, we had already taken out the daily here. I'll kind of just, I'll use this guy. And we'll do buy side. And I'll just do buy side. Previous day high. Okay, let's go back down to the 5-minute. So we have the buy side here. So this would have been the immediate draw, and then we have the 1020 and then buy side. So let's flip back to electronic trading hours. And so right here, we had our 355, so the London session high. So once we took out these, this was that next target, and we just kind of swept above it. So once we swept above it, let's drill down to the 1-minute. So you can see here I have a 5-minute fair value gap. My initial draw right here was the sell side for the AM stops down here. So that's where I was expecting price to go. I had my stop loss or my buy limit at the top of this M1 fair value gap. I wasn't really expecting it to come down here, but you never really know. So looking at the 1-minute. So let's go over to the 1-minute here, and you can see we had that silver bullet set up, like I said, I didn't take the trade in the morning. So we're going to go over the actual trades here, and let me put on the execution so you guys can see. So initially what I was seeing, we came up and we swept this. We basically came down, made a low, rejected out of here, and once we kind of came up, so this is OTE. So we have OTE basically in this area. Once we tapped into OTE right here and we rejected, I initially had this set as a fair value gap, and since it didn't hold, I was looking for this to be an inverse fair value gap. So this isn't a normal setup that I take, so that was kind of some risk on my part. But I had that with an order block here, this last up close candle before the down move, and we had this fair value gap here. So once we kind of moved down and we had a candle close below this, I was expecting this to be resistance to take us down lower to at least here, maybe even down into here. So I started to note there's this phantom trend line here. So I've been kind of watching some of his other stuff, and this is the retail Rick trend lines. So looking for this to be crushed. So I basically went short here. I had my stop right above this 1 minute fair value gap, and basically it just went against me, and we took out the swing high from the AM session. So I was still kind of watching it after this kind of played out. So it was like I think it was a $250 loss, basically 5 points. And so I was thinking that once we took out this, once we actually moved, we had a solid move above this. I was expecting a rejection lower again to take out AM sell stops. So at this point, once we were up here, this is my new target. The AM sell stops, the low hanging fruit. So this is the closest, basically closest draw on liquidity that I could attack from this area. So once we swept above this high here from the AM session, let's go down to the 30-second because that's what I was operating on. So if we go down to the 30-second, and so we did the 30-second, we have our 3 down close candles here. This is our breaker, and I'm going to move this over. So we have our breaker right here. We took out the high, we directed lower. Once we had a candle close basically below this, let's go to the 1 minute. I think it closed on the 1 minute. Basically this candle right here. So I entered right at the entry of this breaker with my stop at the top of the breaker. Once I saw that happening, I was looking at NQ. NQ failed to make this high. So that gave me the extra, SMT confidence that we were gonna head lower. So going back to the 30-second. Once we move lower, we didn't have any candles close above the midway. We wicked through it twice, and then I sold one more as this candle was coming up here. So, and then basically I kind of documented what I was seeing through here. So we do have like a little micro shift in structure here, but like this is the main market structure shift in my eyes. If we go, let's just look at the 5 minute again real quick, and then I'll flip back. So the 5 minute, you wouldn't have caught the break here because this is the actual swing. And so I was doing this was a scalp. So I was looking for small shifts and structure, and then just to execute that. So we have a 5 minute fair value gap here. We have the 1 minute right here. So this is our displacement through the swing low. This is our key fair value gap. And again, my stop is above. Let me just put on our position here. So we have this, my stop remained here until once we kind of started moving lower. But like I said, we have this 5-minute fair value gap. Once we had movement lower, I think once we moved this low, I moved my stop to about halfway. And then we started to break this phantom trend line. So everyone that was long basically from 11.16 is going to get crushed. And so I had two take profits. One here at the swing low. This was my first take profit. And then I had my second one right here. I was one tick away from being filled. So that kind of sucks. But once I saw that and I was watching NQ at the same time, I was willing to let it come up into this fair value gap, but not much higher than this volume imbalance. So we didn't end up coming down to fill this out until 2:30. So this actually, if I would have held and I didn't take any profit, I would have been stopped out right here, and then I would have advanced lower to take that profit of what I was initially looking for. So yeah, I hope this kind of helps. Just kind of showing my logic on the trade. Overall, like I said, I was bullish for the day. Just seeing NQ and ES, we had been kind of going down for a bit, and watching the 9:30 open, I was bullish for the day, but I took a bearish scalp to run the AM stops. So yeah, I guess let me know if you guys have any questions. You can put it in the comments here. But yeah, so this kind of explains just for this mean threshold here. So this was noted on the 5-minute. And so I was basically looking at this up close candle here. This is an order block, and we have mean threshold, which is half of this candle. So that's what I have noted there. Once we kind of got below the swing low, I kind of used this as a reference point for my trade. So like I said, I was hoping we were going to come down into this M1 fair value gap. That ended up happening at 2:30, but I was already out of my trade. And then you can see at the end of the day, so we basically took sell stops here, and then we reversed, and then we took out these two highs, and then I think we pushed up higher. Let's go back to a daily. We pushed up higher and took, and maybe it's on a 4-hour. No, 1 hour. We came up into this 1 hour fair value gap right at the end of the day. So that would have been that next target. But since I already had my trades for the day, so I was content with my profits. So we'll go over the trade reviews, and I'll add some extra commentary. All right, so here we are with the trade review. Like I said, I was mainly working on NASDAQ, and I flipped over to ES. So quickly making some annotations. We went short in this, what I had thought to be an inverse fair value gap. So right now we're getting, we had initially had that movement lower. And I'm just kind of zooming out here. We have the order block, and the last line of defense in this trade is that 1 minute fair value gap. So I'm just one tick above that, drawing out this phantom trend line here, where retails would see this as continuing support. So we're trading up into this fair value gap, and basically if it doesn't reject at this midway, then it'll fail. So you'll see I'll put like a little finger to the middle point here. And I have this 1 minute fair value gap noted. And so we have this shown here, and it just pushed up and stopped out. So and that's basically the end of the trade. So so that kind of stopped me out. So coming in here, the video starts. So we have those three down candles. So that's the breaker, and I entered at the very end, the very bottom of that breaker, and once we go down below it and then we come back up again, I sell one more. So I actually got perfect fills on that. They were both the same price. So you can see I have an 8.75, or is that 8.75 handle take profit. I have my first buy limit right there at 44.91, and so prices coming back up, which is fine. It can come back up and touch that breaker once more. I'm noting that right there, the body in the wick was respecting that that 1 minute fair value gap, and then I have the order block that's on the 30-second chart. So I'm just noting that market structure shift right there, and noting the 5 minute fair value gap. So we can return back up into this, and then continuing lower. If I wanted to sell another short, I could have sold one more right there. Once we tap right back into the breaker, we get an instant rejection from that, and that's exactly what we want to see. So that's at this point I'm feeling pretty confident we're going down there. I have the little magnet and the target set. So at this point we're just waiting. So I am moving that phantom trend line over, so we're starting to break through that. And yeah, so we're just waiting for, and to note, we entered during the 11:50 to 10:10 macro, and the first trade we were entering outside of that. So we're getting movement here. We're going to take sell side out, and then it's going to reverse a little bit. I'm noting this volume imbalance here, and we get a nice rejection. You can see that wick just fills it to the T, and then we get our first take profit. So you can see I moved my stop to better than break even. So at this point, I'm waiting for this to deliver to 44.89. So that's a 10.75 handle move, and I'm willing to let this go up to the M5 fair value gap. You can see I just did a fib. I noted the order block and the mean threshold on the 5 minute. So I basically have my stop right above the mean threshold now. So noting this 1 minute fair value gap, and just looking for this rejection here. So I saw, and I was looking at NQ as well, so I moved my stop down to right above that volume imbalance. I'm not willing to let price go higher than that. If it was going to deliver into that M1 fair value gap, like it should do it here. Like it should push down and push through it. So once it started to come up, I was starting to think that this was going to reverse on me at this point, just because, like I said, overall I'm bullish for the day. So this is supposed to be a quick scalp, and then I'm just going to play out the rest of this. If I would have kept my stop where it was and didn't take profit, I think I've learned my lesson a few times on that, and basically won't let that happen anymore. So happy with my rules on that. And yeah, it's going to come up here, touch the top of that breaker, and then it ends up going to reverse and then go down there. But anyways, thanks for watching.